A man accused of killing his ex-girlfriend and shooting another woman faced a judge for the first time today. Bradenton police say Keith Roberts Jr. went into a medical and office complex yesterday and shot the two women. News Channel 8's Victoria Lucas joins us live from the Manatee.
On January 15th, 2026, at exactly 12:48 in the afternoon, a man walked into a quiet medical laboratory in Bradenton, Florida. He wasn't there for an appointment. He wasn't there for blood work. He was there with two guns and one target in mind. His ex-girlfriend, Myshaela Burnham, was sitting at her desk, probably thinking about what she'd have for lunch, maybe texting her son, just living her normal Wednesday. She had no idea that in the next few seconds, her life would be over. If cases like this one fascinate you, if you want to understand the darkness that lives in some people, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Shadow Crime, and hit that bell icon, so you never miss when we dive deep into the minds of those who cross the line. Now, let me tell you about Myshaela. She was only 29 years old, a young mother trying to build a life for herself and her son. She worked at this medical lab processing facility, nothing glamorous, just honest work to pay the bills and provide for her child. Her family described her as loving, dedicated, someone who always put her son first. She was the daughter of Jamie Burnham, the granddaughter Linda and Kevin Goda, and most importantly, she was a mom. That little boy was her world. And then there was Keith Roberts Jr., also 29. On paper, he seemed like he had it together. He worked as a security guard at Manatee Memorial Hospital, right there in Bradenton. Think about that for a second. This was a man whose job was to protect people, to keep them safe. But behind closed doors, something else was happening. Keith and Myshaela had been together for years. A long-term relationship that people on the outside probably thought looked normal, maybe even happy. But somewhere along the way, things went wrong. We don't know all the details of what happened behind closed doors, what arguments they had, what red flags Myshaela might have seen. What we do know is that about a month before that Wednesday in January, Myshaela made a decision. She ended it. She walked away from Keith Roberts Jr. And according to Bradenton Police Chief Josh Kramer, Keith didn't take that very well. Not well at all. Here's what you need to understand about certain people. When they lose control over someone they believe they owned, something inside them breaks. It's not about love at that point. It's about power. It's about ego. And for some, if they can't have you, they'll make sure nobody can. For almost a month after the breakup, we don't know exactly what was going through Keith's mind. Was he calling her? Texting her? Showing up places he knew she'd be? Or was he quiet, planning, thinking, letting the anger build up inside him like pressure in a volcano? What we do know is that on that Wednesday afternoon, Keith Roberts Jr. made a choice.
A man accused of killing his ex-girlfriend and shooting another woman faced a judge for the first time today. Bradenton police say Keith Roberts Jr. went into a medical and office complex yesterday and shot the two women. News Channel 8's Victoria Lucas joins us live from the Manatee County Jail this afternoon, where Roberts Jr. remains behind bars. Victoria.
Josh, and the suspect will stay here until his next court appearance, that ordered by the judge today in court.
You shall have absolutely no contact with the victims or the victim's family. You shall have no contact with any witnesses.
A Manatee County court judge ordering Keith Roberts Jr. to be held without bond after he was accused of murder Thursday afternoon in Bradenton.
The cruelty and the evil that Keith Roberts portrayed yesterday can never be forgiven.
Bradenton City Police Chief Josh Kramer says Roberts Jr. went into a medical and office complex on 4th Avenue Circle East. We're told just before 1 in the afternoon, he shot his girlfriend, Myshaela Burnham, multiple times, killing her. The other victim was sitting next to Burnham.
Some of it hitting the other victim, who was at just an adjoining desk. That's how close it was that the blast hit her too. And then he, in what can only be called premeditated, took out a gun and started shooting directly at her.
Chief Kramer says the woman is recovering from surgery.
She's going to have a long road mentally to deal with what she went through.
Kramer adds witnesses in the area helped point officers to what Roberts Jr.'s car looked like, which led to his arrest in Palmetto.
Those witnesses are heroes. You know, they stood up and said, I know information on this. And it's the whole The idea of see something, say something.
Roberts Jr. is due in court next Friday at 8:30 in the morning. And Chief Kramer also mentioned that Roberts Jr. worked as an armed security guard at Manatee Memorial Hospital and notified the hospital of his arrest. Live in Manatee County, Victoria Lucas, 8 on your side.
He didn't just grab one gun. He grabbed two, a shotgun and a handgun. This wasn't a crime of passion. This wasn't someone who just snapped in the moment. When you walk out of your house with two loaded weapons, you've already made your decision. You've already planned how this is going to end. Keith knew exactly where Myshaela worked. Of course he did. They'd been together for years. He probably dropped her off there before, picked her up after her shifts, maybe even met her co-workers at company events. He knew the layout of that building. He knew where her desk was. So picture this. It's lunchtime at this medical lab. People are probably chatting. Maybe someone's heating up food in the break room. Phones are buzzing with midday texts. It's just another ordinary Wednesday. And then Keith Roberts Jr. walks through the door carrying a shotgun. Now, I want you to think about what Myshaela must have felt the moment she looked up and saw him. Did her heart drop? Did she freeze? Did she try to say something, try to reason with him? We'll never know because she didn't get the chance. Keith walked straight to her desk. No hesitation. No second thoughts. He raised that shotgun and fired at point-blank range. Multiple times. Myshaela died right there, right at her desk, surrounded by the mundane pieces of her normal workday. But here's where it gets even darker. Sitting right next to Myshaela at an adjoining desk was her co-worker, a 26-year-old woman named Summer. Summer wasn't involved in their relationship. Summer had nothing to do with their breakup. Summer was just trying to do her job, just trying to get through another day at work. The shotgun blast that killed Myshaela was so close, so violent, that the spray hit Summer too. And Keith didn't stop there. He pulled out his handgun and deliberately shot at Summer. Not once, not twice, 4 times. 4 bullets entered that young woman's body while she was probably screaming, probably trying to crawl away, probably wondering why this was happening to her. Let me tell you what those 4 bullets did to Summer. 1 severed her left brachial artery. That's the major artery in your arm. She was bleeding out. Another bullet completely shattered her right knee, destroyed it. Then her right leg, both the upper and lower bones, shattered. This woman went to work that morning on 2 healthy legs, and now she's facing a future where walking might never be the same again. And while Summer lay there bleeding, while Myshaela's body was still warm, Keith Roberts Jr. calmly walked out of that building, got his car, and drove away. Now here's what tells you how cold this man is. He didn't panic. He didn't run erratically. He just drove.
Cruel and evil. That's how the Bradenton police chief describes Keith Roberts Jr., who's accused of walking into a Bradenton medical lab yesterday and shooting 2 women. Police say one of the women was Roberts' ex-girlfriend. She died and her co-worker was seriously injured.
Yeah, Fox 13's Kimberly Cuizon tonight has some new details about the suspected shooter and his motive.
Those who witnessed what happened inside this medical lab office off of 4th Avenue Circle East in Bradenton will never forget it.
This man's a terrorist. He terrorized those people's lives.
Bradenton Police Chief Josh Kramer says Keith Roberts Jr. entered the lab on Thursday afternoon, armed with a shotgun and handgun. Inside, his ex-girlfriend, Myshaela Burnham, was working at a desk.
Directly opened fire at point-blank range, closer than you and I likely are right now, with a shotgun. Multiple times, some of it hitting the other victim who was at just an adjoining desk. That's how close it was that the blast hit her too.
BPD says Roberts was a security guard at Manatee Memorial Hospital. He and Burnham were in a long-term dating relationship, which recently ended. The shooting left Burnham dead and her co-worker fighting for her life.
Was shot multiple times. I mean, shotgun blast and handgun blast. She's lucky to be alive, really is, and we're all praying for her to safe recovery.
Bradenton police say Roberts took off in his car, but a description of the vehicle led to his arrest less than 20 minutes after the shooting. And Bradenton police say he made statements which indicated he knew why he was being stopped.
Those witnesses are heroes. You know, they stood up and said, I know information on this.
Yes.
Roberts showed little emotion from jail as he faced a judge during his first appearance Friday. He will remain here until a pretrial detention hearing, charged with first-degree murder and attempted murder. Burnham was a mother. At 29, her life was taken too soon.
The cruelty and the evil that Keith Roberts portrayed yesterday can never be forgiven.
From Manatee County, Kimberly Quizon, Fox 13 News.
So Bradenton police say that Burnham's co-worker underwent surgery and is in stable condition, but will have a long road of recovery ahead of her. Roberts' pretrial detention hearing will be held next Friday at 8:30 in the morning.
But the people inside that lab, they were smart. Even in their panic, even with the chaos and the screaming and the blood, witnesses got his license plate number. They gave police a description of his vehicle. And within 25 minutes, police spotted Keith driving through Palmetto near the Bradenton Area Convention Center. When they pulled him over, you know what he did? Nothing. He didn't resist. He didn't try to run. He still had both guns in the car with him, loaded and ready, but he just gave up, like the fight was over now, that he'd done what he came to do. Police said he even agreed to be interviewed by detectives. Can you imagine sitting across from someone who just murdered his ex-girlfriend and tried to kill an innocent bystander? And he's just calm, just talking like it's a normal conversation? By 6 p.m. that same day, Keith Roberts Jr. was officially arrested and charged with first-degree murder with firearm and attempted first-degree murder with firearm. 2 days later, on January 17th, he stood in front of a judge for his first court appearance. People who were there said he showed almost no emotion. The judge ordered him held without bond, and honestly, that's exactly where he belongs. His next hearing is scheduled for January 24th, and he's sitting in Manatee County Jail right now. But let's talk about the real victims here. Myshaela is gone. Her son, who's just a little boy, will grow up without his mother. He'll have birthdays where she's not there, graduations where her seat is empty, a wedding someday where he can't dance with his mom. Her family set up a GoFundMe to help support that little boy's future. Because what else can you do when someone rips your daughter, your granddaughter, your mother away from you? And Summer? She's alive, but at what cost? She's already had emergency surgery. Doctors say she'll need multiple more surgeries. Her recovery is going to be long and painful, both physically and mentally. She'll need extensive physical therapy just to try to walk again. She'll need mental therapy to process the fact that she almost died at work for absolutely no reason. Her family also started a GoFundMe because medical bills don't stop just because you're a victim of someone else's evil. Police Chief Josh Kramer didn't mince words about Keith Roberts Jr. He called him a terrorist. He said Keith terrorized those people's lives with cruel and evil actions that can never be forgiven. The chief pointed out that Keith changed 4 lives forever. 2 victims who will never be the same. A child who lost his mother. And Keith himself, whose life is essentially over now too, whether he rots in prison or faces worse. So here's what I want you to think about. What makes someone who spent years with a person, someone who probably said he loved her, turn into her executioner? When does love turn into ownership in someone's mind? And why do men like Keith believe that if they can't have someone, that person doesn't deserve to exist at all? What was going through his head during that month after the breakup? Was this planned from day one? Or did something specific trigger him that particular Wednesday? And here's the scariest question. How many Keith Roberts are out there right now, quietly fuming after a breakup, stockpiling weapons, planning their revenge? If this case made you think, if it opened your eyes to how dangerous domestic violence really is, do me a favor. Share this video. Let people know that leaving an abusive relationship is often the most dangerous time. Hit that like button, subscribe to Shadow Crime, and turn on notifications so you're here every time we expose the truth about cases like this. And drop a comment below telling me what you think Keith's sentence should be. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.